Beauty and the Beast came out in 1991 and is considered by many to be one of the best movies of the Disney Renaissance era. It was very successful when it came out, made lots of money for Disney, and it went on to win 2 Oscars, one for Best Music and the other for Best Original Score. Then the movie got a live-action remake in 2017 with Emma Watson starring as Belle. This movie did pretty well also. It made lots of money and it got nominated for 2 Oscars. So how are these 2 movies different? How are they the same? And which one is better? Well, let's take a look. Before we go any further, I'd like to give a big thanks to my man David Kaler for recommending this topic to me. He has a YouTube channel where he covers movie soundtracks such as Star Wars, Pirates of the Caribbean, and his most famous La La Land. Link to his channel will be in the description. I highly recommend you subscribe to him. The animated Beauty and the Beast really has a lot going for it. It's got a good story, great characters, and a great musical. The main characters are executed very well in this movie as well. Belle is very sweet and very likable and has a nice charm to her. The Beast acts like a big brute in a lot of the movie, but they do make sure to give him enough humanity early on so you do feel for him. By the end of the movie, you actually end up really liking the Beast. The side characters are very good as well. Lumiere is very charismatic and Miss Potts is very sweet and likable. One of the best things about this movie though is its score and musical numbers. Credit for the music goes to 2 guys, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. Menken would write the music for the songs while Ashman wrote the lyrics. Beauty and the Beast was actually Howard Ashman's last project as he died soon after the movie was done. As far as problems go with this movie, I think they're few and far between. The weakest link in the movie for me is Gaston, the movie's villain. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Gaston is a bad villain. He's decent and he gets the job done, but when you compare to the likes of Maleficent, Frollo, and Lady Tremaine, he doesn't really stand out that much. These villains have a certain level of intimidation to them that would make him scary to go up against. And while I thought Gaston was a jerk, I never really got intimidated by him. In fact, I laughed at him most of the movie. Again, he's not terrible, but compared to other Disney villains, he's not that great either. Aside from Gaston though, this is an awesome movie that deserves all the fame it has achieved. Now let's take a look at the live action movie. One of the good things a live action movie does is it closes a lot of the plot holes in the previous movie. One example is how the curse affects people's memories so no one remembers the castle at all except the people who live there. Another one is how they explain why everyone else is cursed too and not just the prince himself. Another thing I like about this movie is some of the songs in it. Evermore is a great song and I love this movie's version of Gaston much better than the original. Sadly, whereas the animated version had few problems that you had to look for, this movie has a lot of problems that stick out like a sore thumb. The first problem I want to address is this movie's use of CGI. While it does make certain rooms and sceneries in the movie look nice, the characters look terrible. There were plenty of times I felt like I was watching a cutscene from a video game, especially in the Be Our Guest song. Another problem I had with this movie is how they depicted the Beast in this movie. Not only does the CGI make him look bad too, but his whole demeanor is off in this movie. They try to take from the novel and the anime movie and it just doesn't blend well. He ends up coming off as a spoiled brat who at times seems indifferent to his curse and unaware of his situation. But the biggest problem with this movie is Emma Watson's performance. I gave Emma Watson a lot of slack when I wrote about this movie's soundtrack in my blog, but the more I watch the movie, the more I think I gave her too much slack. Everybody points out Emma Watson's auto-tune, and that is a problem, but it's not the only problem. It might actually not even be the biggest problem. I think the biggest problem with Emma Watson's performance is how flat and underwhelming it is. In the anime movie, Belle was expressive and had all kinds of emotions, but in this movie, she just smiles from time to time. Most of the time, she just has a blank stare on her face. And that's the kind of performance she gives in all the musical numbers in this movie.
But he was mean and he was coarse and unrefined, and now he's dear and so unsure. I wonder why.
My gosh, is she bad. One defense I hear for this movie is that you can exaggerate emotion and movement in animation, but not in live action. Well, okay, so instead let's take a look at another live action scene. Here's Gene Kelly in Singing in the Rain.
Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I'll walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing, singing in the rain, dancing in the rain. I'm happy again. I'm singing and dancing in the rain.
Look at him smiling, look at him dancing, look at how he's really getting into the song. He looks like he's really enjoying himself and he sells it very well, and every time I watch and listen to it, I can't help but to enjoy it either. This is how you do a musical performance in a movie. But with Emma Watson, it looks like she's just going through the motions and she's not enjoying the song. This really ends up hurting the movie as a whole. While the live action movie does have good things about it, it has too many problems to ignore also. The bad CGI and problematic performances really stand out in this movie and it hurts it big time. The animated movie was clearly trying to be a classic and they went all out with it and made sure everything was right. The few problems that the movie does have are forgivable and it doesn't take away from the rest of the movie. 20 years from now, people will still be watching the animated version while the live action one will be forgotten. Thank you guys for watching this review. Let me know what you think of this movie in the comments section below. And if you like what you've seen and would like to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell as well. See you next time.